Alright guys, welcome. Today is the first part of the vlog, and this vlog is going to be about learning full stack in 1 week. And I'm gonna record a little bit different than you're used to. First I thought maybe I should show you around here, and so you can see how things are actually looking here. Um, Basically, this is the room that I've been working on all year. There's nothing really special going on. Um, just microwave, freezer, lamp. And this is actually my corner where I usually record videos, so nothing special. Obviously my dog that you have been hearing on the background on the live stream. Nothing too special, just a drink, just a just a speaker, and obviously I have a little bit of stuff like power bank, things for my computer, those kinds of stuff. Nothing special. Two screens here, so I can also watch the stream on the side and also reference to other things such as a whiteboard and those kinds of stuff. It's not really fancy looking, but it does the job, and that is the most important part. Basically we are focusing on full stack, and this full stack is going to be first at backend. Then we're going to see how we connect things all together, and we'll see what happens with if we can manage to have a project as well. But yeah, let me go down more specifically. So we're gonna hop on the computer, and you're gonna see how things are actually looking like, what the plan is for this week, and I will see you on to the next part of the vlog. Basically you can see this is a website called roadmap.sh. I will zoom it a little bit in so you can see, guys. Basically this is a kind of roadmap that you need to know in order to be a decent back-end developer. It seems that we already quite know some stuff, but which I'm going to talk about the next part in the vlog. But basically, there's a lot to learn backend or full stack even. Obviously we know JavaScript. We picked that language, how to say it at work, HTTP, hosting, DNS work. That's how they work. We already know that. We know version controls. Not necessarily in the sense of like in depth how version controls, like with the pipelines and those kinds of stuff, but definitely how these things work. We have GitHub. It seems like you can also use Bitbucket or GitLab, and this is where the hard part actually comes in. You know, the relational databases or no relational databases. You also have these ones. I think this is a very hard part. I think this specifically here is a skill on its own. I'm a bit sketchy about that. Also caching. I'm not sure if I actually can cover the caching, like definitely the server side and those kinds of stuff. But like with Redis and memo cache, I'm not sure if I can get into that at the end of this vlog. Obviously about REST and JSON APIs, we need to learn that, and authentication, something I'm also not a real big fan of. It's very important to know this stuff, especially when you go to protected domains. And but we're also gonna do a little bit of web security, especially with decrypt, salting your password. If you don't know what it means that how your password gets matched will be in a crypted or non-crypted way, and that gets compared with the actual password. So there's quite a lot of things for the knowing. I don't necessarily know testing. Testing is a skill on its own, in my opinion. So I'm not sure if you're actually going to do that. And about the pipelines, I'm not sure if you're actually getting in here. And best practices, we're not going to make our own API, but obviously, we also need to do a little bit of architectural patterns. There's a couple of ways you can do it, like serverless, monolithic, microservices. There's many ways to do that stuff. Also, how you're going to design and develop your way into it. And also, there's things like Docker and Kubernetes. So there's a lot to learn, but there's a couple of things that we are not specifically going to do because they're not important right now. The most important part is that I match the back end with the front end. So yeah, but definitely we're gonna work on JavaScript. We're gonna work a little bit on databases. We're gonna work on Node.js, authentication, a little bit of web security, yeah, little bit of scaling, and maybe we're gonna use GraphQL. I'm not sure. We'll see how far we get, but you will see the planning maybe on the future vlog part. So yeah, now you know that what is going to be the prerequisites. So yeah, what are my prerequisites? What are the things that I already know, and how am I able to do this in 1 week learning full stack? I'm going to study maybe like 3-4 hours a day, and hopefully at the end it's going to be a project. Like some things I'm going to repeat more often, actually, but yeah, that is basically the goal of what it should happen. So there's a lot of things that I do know, especially when it comes to the front end and how to do everything on the front end. That is basically what I do, from animations to React to Swell to, it doesn't really matter. I'm frameworkless in that sense. So that is pretty obvious to me. So the most challenging part is actually making backend and connecting the part. So what are the things specifically what I know, which I'm gonna name now? I know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, Tailwind, React, Svelte, Vue, GSAP, and more library stuff, things like animation libraries, package libraries, anything that makes the front end work, such as a multi-page application or a single page application. I basically know that stuff. Do I know how to make it fast? Sure. I also know how to work with no-code tools such as Framer or maybe a CMS tool like WordPress. All too familiar with that, not a huge deal for me. So yeah, what should we work on? Well, actually we should work on Node.js, databases, authentication, making config, middleware, controllers. Those kinds of stuff is where we specifically are going to work on. So yeah, if you're interested in that, then stick around, because now we're gonna choose a project and we try to stick on that and hopefully makes things work within a week or so. Also, just a little quote is that I am going to use a little bit of AI, but mostly I want to write it from scratch. The reason why, because if I rely too much on AI, I don't think I know how it works. Also, we might consider using a backend as a service. So if you don't know what it is, basically it's like a platform that handles a lot of code for you, and you only need to connect to that certain website or framework, like that. So let's assume that you have like Node.js. You can actually put on like a no-code layer on top of that you can call backend as a service. It's not exactly the definition of that, but you are gonna see probably when we're gonna do mobile development in the future. But maybe I'm gonna use it in this vlog as well, and we'll see about that. Hey guys, welcome back. So this is day 2. I've been researching the front end part. What we're gonna do, you have to make 5 screens, which is one home screen, one user screen, dashboard, one sign up screen, one logout screen, one success screen, one product screen. So there's a lot to do. A lot of them gonna be created with AI. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, let me show you how that looks like. So basically here I have like a video that's gonna play in the background, just like a little teaser. And this is going to be the mobile version. I'm gonna create some elements and those kinds of stuff. And Yeah, so this day it's going to be a little bit more difficult because I'm creating the front end only. And in the evening, we're going to create the schedule, how everything is working together. But I will show you that when it's evening. So, yeah, I will see you soon. Well, actually, it is like a couple of hours. So,
Hey guys, welcome back. So this is day two of the product page. Basically, this is the front end part, and we want to create a very simple login register with the backend what we're going to make, and that you can subscribe to buying ice cream, like a 6 box ice cream. This is the price. You will click here, and then you officially bought the ice cream, and that you can see it on your dashboard. So I'm just gonna show you a couple more pages. So we have like the sign in page, we have like the dashboard page. So yeah, everything seems to be working. Register page, right? So yeah, I'm not gonna do all out, but yeah, basically this speaks for itself. So yeah, see you on to the next video. The couple days will be more about backend.
all right, guys, as you can clearly see, we have a website and it's going to be very simple. It's going to be that you can subscribe to buy a box of ice cream. It's going to have a login, register, dashboard. Not too complex, just to show that I can make a backend like this. And yeah, we'll see what happens into the future. I'm very excited for this. And yeah, I will see you on to the next day because this is day two. We're kind of finished. And tomorrow we're going to work on the backend part. Hey guys, welcome back. It is day three, and yeah, we finished the front end. I think I showed it on the last part of the video. We have a couple more bug fixes to do, so yeah, we'll see what happens. And yeah, I'm kind of curious how I'm gonna do that. So basically, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna find a very good example of a MERN application. And when I've done that, I will try to find the relationships and how certain protocols work and why they are using certain protocols. So hopefully that way I will figure out how to do certain stuff. And in that way, I will build my applications. Now, there's a couple of more issues that I think I will encounter, which is the first one is actually to have cookies. So cookies are a special way to handle certain data that you can authenticate to a protected route. It basically means only you can log in that certain stuff if you have that cookie. And one of the things that I am worrying about this is because it's a really hard topic to grasp and things can go wrong really fast. Of course, we're not going to do a very optimized system. I'm just going to only do like a login and that you can subscribe to a product and those kinds of stuff, like no Stripe integration or any payment integration, just that you can subscribe. And also, what I'm worried about is not protected routes, but one of the middleware stuff. I'm not sure exactly what it is anymore, but hopefully we will figure it out. And yeah, I will show you on the next video what the how I am gonna approach these problems, and hopefully I will figure it out. So yeah, I will see you on to the next part of this video, and this is probably gonna be on the computer.
All right, you guys. So um, this is the video what I'm talking about, and I was looking at how everything is connected from the back end and the front end. And we got like a project from a website for my course. And instead of watching the whole video, I decided to extract just what's going on. And you can check it out here if you want to. It's just a course on YouTube from JS Mastery, and decided to yeah extract that and see how everything is connected. So I'm gonna talk about a little about the back end and see if I actually understand what I'm talking about. So basically we are making a MERN, which is mongoose um, Mongoose Express React Node.js. So Express is like a handler for Node.js when it comes to routing, when it comes to controllers, when it comes to databases. It has a specific way of handling stuff, and this is React and Node.js. So how is it connected? Well, it seems like if I am going to do it localhost, we want to install something which is called course. Now, I'm not necessarily know what it is yet, but basically you allow requests and allow cookies to be sent to the front end if the front end asks for a fetched from the back end. So it's a way of sending that data to there. I am very curious how this would work in practical terms, um, but we'll see that later. And yes, this is the folder structure. So let's start with the most basic part, which is the app server.js. So you can see there's a lot of going on, but there are a couple of things that are very important. The first thing is actually have a config and to protect your routes. It's because in a sense of that you're not exposing critical data or critical links or critical secure passwords, anything like that. This is a way of protecting that. The second thing is to connect the database, and it seems like you wanted to do that immediately after you started Express.js. So Express.js is again a handler for Node.js, like some layer on top. And the first thing what you do is to connect the database. Now the database is in a separate file, like how to connect to MongoDB, which is actually Mongoose. Not exactly, but it's a kind of a way of connecting. So that's the first thing that you do. The second thing what you do is how you do the path naming. Then you use the middleware. Then you use the routes. Then you use the testing. Then you use the error handling and central error handling. And then you start actually the server. So there's a lot of things going on. And you don't want to build this all at once. I know this. So we're gonna do the first part first, and I think the most important part is start the connection to the database, make sure that the first route exists, and the other one seems to be make sure that you can host the server. That are, for me, the most important stuff. So it seems there is a concept called controller and middleware, and controller seems to handle the logic, what it should do when it enters a certain route, and the middleware is kind of a helper with that. So that is a pretty interesting fact that I think I understand it this way. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyways, let me actually get like a drawer. Let's go to the most important part, I think, which is the models. So the models are connected to the database, and this is a way of setting a no SQL database. So if you don't know this, this is like a concept where you actually make a way of setting up how it's gonna look like, how your JSON data is gonna look like. And you're gonna export it and use it in some kind of controller. So this is obviously the subscription controller, but you also have the user controller, which is from the user model. So user model, user controller, user routes, and from user routes you go to the app. So it's a four-step way. Now obviously you can do it in one map, but we're not going to do that. But let's see how the mongoose looks like. So there's a couple of things that it looks like. first the name, which is a string, an email, which is a string, and unique. Unique is atomic. This has something to do with databases. A password, which is also required. A subscription, which is a unique type of ID with the reference of subscription. And there should be a timestamp when a new user is created. Now, what I'm missing here is an actually a unique ID. I think it's possible to do that, but maybe the database automatically makes an ID. So we don't know that yet, but we'll see. So let's go to the controller, and it seems like that there's a cookie here and a salter here. So salter basically means it's hashing the password, so hashing pass, and the token is like a cookie. So these are all concepts I learned at school, so it's pretty familiar for me. But I want to see what is used here. So basically, you um, when a user is registering, you await the request and try to see if there's a name, email, password in the body, and if there's either or none of them, then you have to say all fields are required. So I'm curious, like how to send to the backend. So how do we send to frontend? I mean, how do we send to frontend? This is a question for me. Because this error handling, I want to say like, hey, you did not put all the input fields, but how to, yeah, get that to React. Anyways, then you check if a user already exists. User exists is find one email. So find one seems to be a method of, um, yeah, it seems to be a method. I'm not sure where. Oh, it seems it's from user, so it means it comes from MongoDB. And you can find if the email exists, then you say email exists. Then before we go, before we we all trying, still in the try catch, then we're gonna hash the password. So await Gen Salt, I'm not sure what the number 10 is, but I think it's an obvious state, like how many numbers you want to get salted. Hash password, you also await the password, hash password and salt it. So this is the method. And then you create, if this everything works, right? So if you tried all of this, then you want to say create user with a name, email, password, and a password is the hash password. And then you say user registered and also like that. So yeah. Then you have catch error. If there's error in register user, so let's see if that exists, is error.message. And this is just a server status if the server fails. So let's assume like MongoDB or something. And then we have the login. And then we have the retrieve user data file, excluding password. I think this is very important because when you want to log in, obviously you don't want to set the password. But it's funny that you can just say minus password and those like that. So there's a lot of things I'm not familiar with, but these seems to be the methods. And something that I am um, curious about is how the tokens work. So this is something I really need to understand. Okay, so this is a part of the video that I explained. Let's go to centralized error handling. So there seems to be like a workflow here, and this workflow handles subscriptions I see and sends reminders. So this puts two things at one centralized stuff. Here is an authentication handler which deals with the setup of the cookie I see. And also we have a trigger workflow here, which is something else. I'm not sure how that works yet, but we'll see. Probably some kind of protector or something like that. And yeah, it's just overall I want to say it's pretty complex to understand. But yeah, we're gonna just try to make one protected route, which is going to be the dashboard first. And let's see if we can yeah, get something going, right? Like make the database, make the something, and then extend from whatever we have. So yeah, that's a little bit of explaining. So far that I understand the relationships a little bit, but the centralized error handling, for example, yeah, that's completely on top of my head. So let me see if I can find where that is. Yeah, I don't see the error handling at the moment, but yeah, there is. All right, so this is the video for now, and I will see you on to the next one.
All right, guys. So we finally have something on the screen. So basically, this is the back end, and the other part is the front end. And basically, I needed to connect the database, and I just wanted to see if something works. So if I post something on a subscribe, I should be able to receive the body in the console. That was something that what I have. And I did that to just make a button here and just say hello from the body. And I click on this particular subscribe button here. Let me see, handle subscribe, which is the subscribe button here. And if I click on it, it should give me the message. So that is working. So you can clearly see that I have successfully made a MERN project already, but yeah, there's still a lot to do. Like making a subscribe, making cookies, making the middleware. There's a lot of things that we need to do. And also this one seems to be missing because I didn't know what it was, but I learned that course basically is able to receive requests from the front end. And yeah, that pretty much signs off for today, which will be day 3. We have like 4 days left. And I think we are pretty far, especially because we have React JS experience. But just seeing how this works, and yeah, I have a lot of comments, so make sure what's happening. But the things that I'm most concerned, what I'm more concerned about is the order that we do something. For example, we do this and then we have to use Express JSON. When should I use to connect the database? That should actually be before and after. And I think this is kind of which comes first hell that I'm experiencing here. So maybe I should try figure out what is the order of this stuff when it comes to importing, so I won't have issues later on. I think that is one of the worst issues that I'm going to encounter next to making cookies and where the errors come from, and actually logging the errors to the front end. That is also pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, that wraps it up, and I will see you on day 4. Hey guys, welcome back. This is day 4 of learning full stack in 1 week, and yeah, pretty interesting things that happened yesterday. Basically, we have been working on the relationship between the front end and the back end, and actually try to fetch some data from the front end to the back end, but now we have to do it in reverse. And we're gonna see what the best practices are in the back end and how all the relationships work. And what we're also gonna work on is how we actually do that efficiently in React. Again, we are making a MERN stack application. It's going to be very simple. A user can register, a user can log in, and a user can subscribe to something. That's basically it. Probably there's going to be a profile section, but I'm not sure if I have time for this. But that is basically what we're going to focus on, and you will see this on the next part of this video. So yeah, basically here, this is how it currently looks like, and yeah, there's a lot of relationships between certain files, file structures, and that do make sense. And yeah, we're just working on why they are doing specific things at a certain place. For example, why are they using find subscription by ID? I don't know what this helper is. Where is this helper coming from? What is this context, right? What is this? Because it's a workflow controller, but also just from the routes. Why are they using the routes like this, and why are they not using it just in a server file? So these are all the things that I need to find out today, and hopefully we can make some linking in the register and the login screen, but yeah, we all have to see for now. Obviously there are some videos that are mixed up, but yeah, I'll try to put them in order. So yeah, I will see you on the next part of the video when I figured all out, or figure out how the relationships works, why they're using post method in a specific relationship, why they're using put method in a specific relationship, how why the connecting looks like this, and those kinds of stuff. So yeah, I will see you on to the next part of the video.